What's up, guys? I am back with another touring seat review for your 24 and up road glide, street glide. This is my third big fat touring seat. First being a carbon fiber edition road sofa. Second one being Bad Boy Cycles Python. And I just finally broke down and had to try this one with a huge 20+% discounts over the Labor Day. So first things first, this is really big and fat seat. So if you have, to put it bluntly, big ass or you're just plus size, this is definitely seat for you. I love coming up here. Who would have thought that about 30-40 minutes outside of Vegas you could be in 8,400 feet and actually have nice cool temperature in the middle of summer. It's about 74 degrees right now. It's at least 25 degrees hotter in my house right now. It's like oasis. Fresh mountain air and great smelling pine trees. So as always, let's start with measurements. Again, I have put a piece of towel that my dog chewed up over the tank to mark kind of its end or the edge. Instead of a tape I used in my garage. So we have roughly 12.25 inches from the edge of a tank to the beginning of this ball that supports your back. Which right off the bat, after testing quite a few seats the last few years, this is about as close to your tank as standard seat would be, the one that comes from the factory. It is not pushing you further back like the Road Sofa or Python. Even the standard ones, not the extended reach, will push you back about an inch. They're all over 13 inches from here to here. This one is about the stock seating position as far as being close to the tank. Which, if you have short arms like me, this is not a bad thing necessarily. The downside is Harley decided to make the tank with these round but square edges instead of actually tapering the tank like they had it before. So this is what a lot of people run into issues with, like they sit too close and then the ties push on these edges here. So this wall here that supports your back is about 5.25 inches. It's actually taller than a lot of seats out there, especially for touring one. And as you can see, this contour is super nice to basically support back of your ass and lower back. It's not just flat board that centers your contact right here and basically there's empty space in here. Okay, so a lot of seats of this design push you back about an inch or inch and a half from the stock seating position or this dimensions wise, which kind of is good for a lot of people, especially if you're taller, because it pushes you away from a tank. Your crotch doesn't sit up here or it doesn't feel like it anymore. But keep in mind, this bolt doesn't move, so whatever you gain here, if you ride with the passenger, they lose this and they are really bunched up and cramped up, especially if you have a backrest, which I assume you should, to support your passenger from falling back. Also, everybody I know, they ride without a backrest. if you have a passenger, because there's just not enough room unless your girl is like 95 pounds, 5'2" or something. This is definitely passenger friendly seat. I mean, look at this pillion here. Super fat too. Couple things to mention about this backrest. I like that it folds and stows. It's really easy to stow it in your saddlebag. I have one issue, having short arms. So this bolt is not long enough for me. I literally need my backrest to be about here to actually fully utilize it. When it's like this, I pretty much run out of hands, or I'm like fully stretched out, which is good for temporary back relief, but for a longer run, I would like it like this. So I'm either gonna put longer bolt here, or I'll probably JB weld or put double-sided tape here and put some washer or nut or something, or piece of little metal to make up for this distance. Another thing to note about the backrest, unlike the road sofa or the Bad Boy Cycles Python, which have superior design of this little mount that this backrest tab slides into, they are spring loaded. Meaning, if you hit a pothole and your back is resting on this, if I do this, the whole mechanism inside is like spring loaded or something, and it moves. It buffers these shocks on your back. This one is just solid, which, if you ride on a lot of rough roads for hundreds of miles, it can make a difference, I would assume. One thing that bugs me a little bit is this. There is like this air pocket here on this section only. This is solid. This is solid. This is definitely all solid and kind of attached to the foam. This section right here, it's got like, I don't know, a little air bubble. It's not a big deal, but this is literally the most expensive seat, maybe except some Corbins. So I would expect perfection, but nothing's perfect anymore these days, especially if it's mass produced like this. On the other hand, the stitching is perfectly on point, even everywhere, these little areas here. Everything is perfectly lining up, even up here in the center. There's nothing worse when you get a seat and your stitching meets like 1/4 inch off. One more thing to note, I guess, I'm about 5'9", 5'10", with these riding boots on. About 265 right now. And I'm not exactly small guy, but I still have about thumb of the space up here. When I sit on it, basically I don't utilize whole 18 inches of the seating area or my ass respectively. When I sit, I can still put like the thumb up here. So I only utilize about 17 inches of this seat without my butt cheeks hanging over, so to speak. I am about 5'10", like I said, especially with these boots on. And a lot of people ask, what seat should I get for my certain height? It's not a correct question to ask. That's more of a windshield question. Correct question is, how tall is your inseam? There's people 5'8" that have 30-inch inseam. There's people 6'2" that have 30-inch inseam. So based on that, you pick your seat so you're not tippy-toeing. If you want to be surely flat-footed, you got to take that into consideration. You can see I'm sitting quite a bit on a tank. Like I said before, it's about as close as the stock seat, which maybe just a little bit further back, but not much at all. And at 30-inch inseam, I can comfortably flat foot this bike because you see how this seat tapers super nicely. A lot of aftermarket seats are wide up here, so this area is what matters. It follows this contour of this fairing. So when you put your feet down, if your seat is super wide and fat here, it prevents your legs from comfortably going down. This area here is super nice and rounded. I guess one last thing to note at the end of this brief review. I only had about 80 miles on this seat so far, but I really enjoy it, and I think it will probably be my favorite of the three that I got. Python road sofa and this. The way this back wall is designed is more slanted back. It's not as perpendicular as the other ones. So this distance right here is actually further back, which alleviates some of the pressure of your butt when you sit. Because you don't just push down with your weight, you kind of spread your weight up here too. So it's like a bucket, which a lot of seats just have seating position and then this sharp back wall that's more upright, so it doesn't support your weight as much when you're just cruising around. But I wish I could have just had a choice to remove this when I don't ride with a passenger, which I don't, like 95% of the time I ride alone. So I would love to just put this sporty looking cowl there instead of this big fat chunky passenger pillion. That would have been really nice choice to have, but I guess you can have both. Maybe I'll just have to get the fourth seat and compare that too. No, my wife would kill me probably after this one. All right, and arguably the most important aspect of the measurements is the height. It is literally about 26 and 3/4 off the ground. So no, it will not sit you lower than stock seat. A lot of people are kind of naive thinking they get big fat padded aftermarket seat that's really thick and they will think they will sit them lower than stock. It's just not gonna happen, guys. If you want comfort, you need to add some material. What's up, guys? So I teleported myself back in my garage for some final thoughts on this Mustang one-piece touring seat. So as I mentioned earlier, I am about 5'9" barefoot, 5'10" with these Harley riding boots on that I had for years. And I can comfortably flat foot this bike. You can see my heels. You know, I can comfortably handle this 830-pound motorcycle without any reaching for the ground. The seat is tapered nicely. What the problem is that the Harley decided to make this tank squared right here in this section. The older tanks were much more tapered in and rounded in this area. So when you have a seat like this that puts you literally in about stock seating position front to back on the tank, this is what a lot of people struggle with, and that's why they need to have a feel to be sitting further back, like inch or inch and a half, like so, because of these edges here. So no matter how well the seat is tapered up on this tongue here on the tank itself, when you sit closer, it pushes your inner thighs here, making it uncomfortable. But luckily, when you ride for, hundreds of miles a day, you don't really put your feet down too much. This is not your city seat, like stop and go, traffic light. This is for your long distance comfort. Another thing to mention, as I said before, I'm kind of running out of hands, which is partially due to my shorter hands and this steering handlebar setup. 10.5-inch OG risers with trashing mid bends with a pullback. When I'm literally, I can lean into this backrest, but it's about right there, like I'm about to run out of hands. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna glue like a piece of metal or a coin or whatever else I find on this metal tab here, and it'll push the seat forward like maybe 1/2 inch or a little more, so I can fully utilize the backrest and lean into it actually without fully stretching my arms. So now I'm like this. So again, guys, if you are a taller person, about 5'10" and higher, or if you have taller inseam than about 30 inches, this is not a seat for you, because you will sit just too close to the tank for comfort. You need the older 2-piece version of this seat, or you need a standard reach road sofa, standard reach Bay Boys Cyclist Python, or if you're like 6'2" or more, you need extended reach seat, but that's what it is. One thing I do like about this seat is that my knees are actually just a hair lower than my hips when I ride. And a lot of seats don't provide this luxury because your knees are same level or just even a little higher than your hips. And I think medically it's called hip flexor muscles. So when your knees are higher than your hips for a long period of time, it creates a lot of tension and spasms and cramps and pain, and it's just not comfortable in the long run. So this seat being as fat and padded as it is, it creates this seating position that's like perfect for your pelvis and hips position. I don't know how else to describe it, but yeah, as soon as I get my backrest just a hair forward, I'm actually, right there. I mean, I can actually stretch out if I put my feet on the front of the footboards. I mean, I could even put them here, but I don't like to do that. But yeah, if I put my heel up front here, I'm nicely comfy stretched out. Like, there's not much to add to this. You don't really need a highway pegs. And I can go from stretched out to regular foot position to about the mids right here. Sometimes if I ride for like more than an hour or two at a time, I have these tail extensions with my trashing footboards, and I put my feet back here, and it feels like riding on the mids. It really puts you in a nice comfy position, especially like for twisties and stuff. Okay guys, I've been trying to wrap up this review, but I keep coming up with new thoughts and what I like and don't like about this seat compared to the other seats. So fit and finish on this is absolutely phenomenal, and this is truly the highlight of this seat. Okay, the tip over bars fit with no issues whatsoever. It doesn't pinch or bunch up the fabric or leather at all. It contours super nice. The fit on this lip on the tank is absolutely phenomenal. By far the best of the all touring seats I have ever seen on these new bikes, and I'll show you why in just a second once I dismount the seat. So this is how the mounting tab looks on these new bikes. And Harley and Lepera have these little tub that I'll show you in a second that slides over this, while Saddlemen and Bad Boy Cycles have this little squared piece of metal that actually sits right here and kills your pain. And even metal, you can literally tell that it's destroying this piece right here, right? You can see the wear and how it's messed up. Well, what the Mustang did is they put this awesome mound right here. So instead of using this little portion, these two tabs, they mount right here. And what it does, it perfectly locks the seat sideways. So when you slide or move on the seat or wiggle, it stays planted as a rock. It doesn't move at all. It's amazing. Same thing goes up and down. These two little tabs, they go up here, and once you slide them on, the seat doesn't move up and down, doesn't move left and right. This is truly the most impressive feature on this seat, and really kudos to Mustang for doing this, because it is truly above any other mounting solution on these new bikes. So I was gonna leave this for another video as a comparison with Saddlemen Road Sofa, Bad Boys Python, and the Mustang that's on my bike right now. And I did comparison videos of these seats before. Saddlemen, Bad Boy Cycles, and a stock seat. And here you can see the mounting tab differences. This is what Harley uses now, this little tub U-channel thing. And I seen Lepera seats. I never had Lepera on this particular bike yet. I had them before, but the mounting was different. Now they have this little channel that this little tab on the bike fits perfectly fine in. See, the Harley tab slides right over this and kind of secures it in place. The huge issue with Road Sofa is this. The hole is way too big, way too tall, way too wide for this mounting tab on the bike. So what people suggested is put these rubber U-channel things on there, and you can see after a couple hundred miles they look all messed up, they don't stay, and it's even getting destroyed by this piece of metal. And even then, the seat doesn't really stay rock solid and put at this mounting point by the tank, which really sucks. When you wiggle on your seat a little bit, the seat moves with you. It's really annoying. Here is Bad Boy Cycles Python. It is same principle as a Road Sofa. It is a little better as far as fit, but as you can see here, after a few hundred miles, this little thin piece of metal is literally metal on metal contact there, and it's really chewing it up already. So as I said a little while ago, when you have a Saddlemen or Bad Boys seat, the tab goes right here, that little rectangular hole. It slides over, and what holds the seat is this little tiny piece of metal that's pretty much right there. So when you wiggle a little bit, it tends to wiggle side by side or up and down. The solution of some people was to get like a 2x4 or rubber mallet and whack this bracket down, which is pretty easy to do because it's not that hard of a metal. But once you do that and this thing is too far down, you literally lose an option of mounting other seats, like a stock Harley seat or the Harley switchback seat, or maybe some others like Lapera's, because the thing, the little lip doesn't slide under anymore when this is too low. So again, Mustang, 150% by far superior mounting system. These two lips go right here on the edges, and they are perfectly spaced so the seat doesn't move side by side at all, let alone up and down, like just about every other aftermarket seat out there. So my absolute last thoughts, finally. What would I change if I designed this seat? I would keep the two-piece version of it. As much as I love the one-piece seats, because it's so easy to change them on these bikes, I really like the way they have this done. It's pretty much already split and separated here, so it's pretty much like they just mounted these two pieces together and made the one piece out of it. I would keep the option of a two-piece seat so you have a choice what pillion to choose, if any. And I would definitely make this portion about 1/2 inch to 5/8 higher right here, because I still feel like it digs just a tiny bit in my lower back here, or my tailbone area. And I would make it probably about inch to 1.5 inches narrower, actually, because it is literally 18 inches wide, which is almost too wide. I don't even utilize the whole seating area. Literally, I still have this much space just about on each side when I sit on it. So I'm only utilizing about 17 inches of this seat. But other than that, if somebody told me, hey, you got to ride to Florida tomorrow, 2,500 miles, what seat would you pick? This one? Bad Boy Cycles Python, Saddlemen Road Sofa. I would have to say I would probably have to keep the Mustang on for such a long trip, because from my preliminary testing, that is the seat that is the most comfortable for me at the moment. And like I said before in my other videos, I tested more seats than anybody I know, and I have pretty picky standards, so to say. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed all these thoughts and found this helpful. Peace.